Identity. When was the last time you really thought about who am I and who do I want to become? So before we decide who we want to become, we need to know, who am I? What does it mean? Like this whole idea of identity. When we think about identity, it's really around our experiences, our beliefs, our values, our embodied values, as well as our cultural background and our social roles, and really everything that has contributed to who you are today. And when I'm working with my clients, a lot of the work we do is around identity work. So to create this dream life that I want, who do I need to become? And so we have to go through this process of shedding the old identity and stepping into the new identity. So how do you know you're kind of in this transition of I'm leaving the old, moving into the new? So I want to talk through the main milestones that you'll hit in this process of becoming. So the first is what used to really fulfill you or enliven you or just really bring you a lot of joy doesn't really do that anymore. And you kind of feel like you're stuck in this box of like, no matter what I try, it doesn't work. This is the first step. This indicates that this current version of me isn't helping accelerate me towards where I really want to go. This moves into the second milestone, which is where you really start to explore and discover new things. This is a lot of learning, finding out what's possible, and there's a lot of imagination in this piece, also getting to know yourself and who you might want to become through this process. Then we move into the fourth milestone, which is letting go. We do have to go through a process of grief because who we've been has been a really important part of what got you to where you are today, right? And so there's that process of how am I changing who I am and what that means for my life, who I spend time with, where I live, what kind of work that I do, the kinds of activities that bring me joy. We really start to see that there's this pull between the old and the new. And I'm going to talk about that in a second, but I want to talk about the last one. So the last one is becoming the new version of you. It's changing your beliefs. It's embodying your new values or the aspirational values that you had. It's choosing what social roles you want to play. It's choosing what experiences you want to create in your life. And this moves you into the new version of you. So back to what happens when you feel like you're stuck between two. Like one side is like, this is the old me, the comfortable me. I know this. It's gotten me to a pretty good place. Then there's kind of this like new me that's emerging. And you're like, oh, this feels like it'd be really nice, but it's also really scary. And then old me's like, no, come back here. And new me's like, no, come here. But the thing is when we get stuck somewhere in between the two, somewhere here of like feeling pulled back into the old version or the current version and also feeling drawn into the new, it can feel really hard. And so there can be kind of these moments of looping of I start to move forward and then I loop back into old habits. I start to move forward and then the old patterns come back. And this is normal. This is okay. This is part of the process of becoming. And sitting in this space is such a good sign because your identity is trying to figure out, okay, what do I want to keep from the current version or the old version of me and bring that into the new? And what are the new things that I want to bring and let go of some of these old things? So this is normal, this like dance kind of between the two areas. And so when we get stuck, I call this is the shedding process. We're shedding parts of the old identity so we can bring in new parts of the identity of this 2.0 version, right? But really, when we think about this, we're always iterating of how can we kind of level up for different stages in our life. And this is just another version of that, and you'll have probably many more in your life. So what can you do to help you through the process of shedding? So first, connect to your unbounded self. I'd say in the beginning, 3 to 5 times a week. Connecting to your unbounded self is kind of like dating, right? When you first start dating, you don't really know the person. You need to discover them, learn more about them, right? Their beliefs, their values, their experiences, their background, their roles that they play. The same thing goes for this next version of you. And your unbounded self helps unlock that. This is the most authentic, beautiful, powerful, calm, grounded version of you. And so by connecting into this, you can start to create somatic anchors. What does it feel like in my body when I'm embodying this unbounded version of myself? And you can also start to see how do they carry themselves? How do they make decisions? What kind of energy do they have? How do you feel in their presence? And the more you get to know them, you can start to see, how do I integrate this more and more into my life? Because if you can access it, it's already within you. It's just, how do I bring it outside of me into the world so I can show this to others? The second thing you can do is reflect on what is holding you back and what is propelling you forward. So what are the fears? What are the limiting beliefs? What are the habits or the routines that are really holding you back from this next version of you? Maybe that's preventing this shedding process. And then what's propelling you forward? What inspires you to want to become this next version of you? What will it get you that you don't have today? What kind of support can help you? And the last thing is, be kind, take your time. The process of becoming, it's not a race. It can be a joyful process. Who do I really want to become? And you can really feel that strength. And so when you start to shed the older parts of self, it feels like a natural kind of evolution versus this forcing of, oh, I must cut out these things, right? So when we think about type A personality, which a lot of the time is like, I need to do X, Y, and Z and cut out all of these things so I can become A, B, and C. This is completely the opposite of that. And so it's really surrendering into like, as I'm struggling with this old version of self and my next version of self, how can I be kinder to myself? How can I take time? How can I really listen? This is why connecting into your unbounded self is so important, but also offering yourself compassion and sharing it with others who are going through the same kind of thing. So those are our 3 tips. The unbounded self, visit her regularly, reflect on those questions, and be kind and take your time. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao for now.